What's going on, Asymmetry? Hey, all you crazy bonsai junkies out there, or just people that listen to me ramble about bonsai. If you don't like bonsai and you listen to Asymmetry, all the more respect to you. I appreciate it. We reached out to what I can only identify as an up and coming group of individuals in Southern California called the Plant Daddies that are doing remarkably amazing, beautiful, fantastic things with arborescent succulents and exotic plants used in the interior environment of high level architectural spaces. And it was very, very clear from the moment that I started seeing their work show up in the world that they were onto something. And not only were they onto something, they had something that other people don't. Getting to sit down with Dane, Macy, and Kenny, we learned about their story, but we also kind of teased apart this just general universal passion that exists amongst people doing creative things with plants that created a lot of synergy with what we do here at Mirai. And it was super uplifting, really positive, and incredibly enlightening to talk with the three plant daddies, as you will, and just to glean a little bit from the success that they're having and their approach to their art and their craft and the evolution of their business as the world starts to find out about a group of incredibly talented individuals doing things just a little bit differently and a lot better. Sit back, relax, and enjoy Dane, Macy, and Kenny, the Plant Daddies, y'all.
Oh, we're not live. Okay.
We're not live.
We're
Still
not
on
live.
You're
We're not
still on
live.
record. Not live,
We're
but you're
on
still on
record,
I
record.
but we're not
mean,
live.
technically we're live whenever you guys want to go live. So I turned the recording
Okay.
on
Got it.
a hot minute ago. Yeah, no, we were just talking about the growing pains of an evolving business, and certainly
Yeah,
with
we're just talking about how we're scaling employees.
Does it ever stop?
Yeah.
that, you know what, I asked myself that same question, and I honestly don't have a good answer for you whether it actually stops or not. I've been through
Yeah.
like any number
I
of
was
iterations.
I was hoping we were gonna get the cheat codes from you, my man. Like, I thought, that's
Yeah.
why we took this meeting. I thought maybe
I,
we'll learn something how to do because I'm trying to figure it out. I thought you had the answers.
well, I mean, I guess I was hoping for the same thing. So we're both coming empty-handed then.
Oh man.
No, I really appreciate you guys making the time. I super apologize for last time. That was just really unfortunate. What
Yeah.
ended up happening
Was that
there.
was that you that got hurt, right?
Yeah, we have these arches in the garden that hold shade cloth in the summertime, and then we put up rain plastic in the wintertime because it's just so wet here, and we deal with like a lot of dry western conifers as our primary like material. And so we'll put really valuable trees or trees that need to stay dry under it. But putting the plastic up is just a straight up hazard. We dropped 5 poles that day, and the only one that did any damage was the one that fell directly on my hand and kind of crushed the top of my hand. So I've been recuperating ever since from that.
Yeah.
But it was a little grim when I came in and had to let you guys know I couldn't attend because I was in a bad way. But we came
Oh, yeah.
we came out. We're on the mend.
Good. How was the recovery process?
It's been some PT once the swelling went down. It turned out I just had kind of like a minor fracture, and they didn't need to go in and do any sort of invasive stuff.
Thank
But
God.
yeah, I had a little
Oh,
bit of a
man.
soft cast, and I've been doing some PT on it and whatnot. But yeah, it was
Thank God.
yeah, I was really worried because my hands are my livelihood. I mean, you guys know this as well as anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were devastated for you. We were, it sounded like, we jumped to the worst conclusion. We're like, no. But yeah, I'm
He
glad
lost
you're all
his
right.
hand. Yeah. No, thank you for that, and thanks for being willing to do it again. Because I was excited to talk to you guys. I mean, essentially, I saw you guys doing your thing, and one of the things that really captivated me about what you guys are doing is there's a lot of people doing cactus, succulents, indoor interiorscape stuff and whatnot. But more than anything, the aesthetic that you guys are generating with your selection of plant material is really, really special. And I started thinking, man, how are these guys doing this? Clearly, you have an aesthetically driven company. You obviously have impeccable taste. But then I started thinking, Where, and I'm not asking for where, I'm just thinking, being in the plant business myself, where are you finding a continual flow of plants that have that kind of quality and character? Because it's not like you can take any interior plant or any, I mean, you're talking about Mediterranean succulents or
Uh,
arborescent succulents, and you guys are using them so artistically. The location and locating of that material has got to be a major challenge for you guys, or at least that was what crossed my mind as I continued to see you become more and more prolific.
It's our
Yeah,
biggest challenge for sure.
100%.
And I wish to God there was one source to where we can just go to and just order again. But I think we have over 100 vendors.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
where every plant I'm looking at right in front of me comes from a different place altogether. We're adopting plants, we're digging them up, we're pulling off the side of the highway,
Hmm.
and asking people. We're paying grandma's cash. It is yeah, in Macy, he's been kind of spearheading our like large plant sourcing, but it's from all over. And honestly, it kind of fits us in that area as well, where if you wanted to be us, you really can't, because there's no way to just say, hey, I want to start Plant Daddy, be like the Plant Daddies and buy what they buy, because there's no real playbook. You can't just call someone. There's no you can't just Google it and figure it out and find a
Hmm.
vendor. You have to hit the ground running, and you have to have that team to be able to do that. But I let Macy jump in, because I've kind of let him spearhead it. But I know in the beginning I drove around everywhere, all day, all the time, just buying stuff that
Yep.
might not live, and that were just decayed or had disease or mites, and then bring it here and then try to refresh it for a client for
Hmm.
sure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of private growers too, or like small scale nursery guys that we buy stuff from.
mhm.
It's not always like the big box stores or the big growers or the names that you can look up on Google. We're finding people that are growing as a hobby or for their own private collection that are willing to sell to us just because we've developed relationships. And then you meet one who refers you to another, refers you to another, and then next thing you know, we're out in the middle of like a dirt road at some guy's house that has 10,000 of this one thing that he likes a lot and is become an artist at growing, and then we'll buy them from him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Who
It's
who's
all word of mouth.
all word of mouth? Whose idea was this? Who's the first daddy?
I'm the first daddy. Macy's the second daddy. Kenny's the third daddy.
Okay.
I started my horticulture life way back when I was about 16 years old. My dad had a restaurant right across the street from a nursery called the Great Big Greenhouse in Richmond, Virginia. And they had a excellent program there that was a feeder to the universities. And I used to get in like fights with my dad, and I ended up just quitting or got fired from my dad's restaurant, and then went across the street to be the mulch boy at the Great Big Greenhouse. And then after that, I was off to the races. Fell in love with horticulture, fell in love with plant world, and you just kind of dug in and dug out, pun intended, just trying new things. And then it just kind of went back to it during COVID, and that's Macy came on real early, um, and helped out with that. And then here we are today. So it's a bit of a longer story for sure, but yeah, I did. I guess I started here for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you originally from the Los Angeles area then?
No, no. I'm from all over. I actually was born and grew up in Connecticut, and then moved to Virginia when I was about 12. That's where my dad's family's from. And then being in Virginia is a little bit more nature-esque than California or any of the cities that I've lived in before or before here. And just being around nature, just playing in the woods. Everyone knew a little bit about plant life in Virginia, or construction or anything with your hands. I've noticed. But yeah, in Virginia, that's where I spent most of my, I guess, formidable years.
Okay.
yeah, both of us are California SoCal boys, born and raised.
Hmm.
Macy and I have known each other since we were 5, so we did every K through 12 together. He went off a little bit for like Central Coast, Santa Barbara area
Mhm.
for a number of years. I've been in SoCal between here and more recently in the desert in by Palm Springs for a few years, but now I'm out here in Orange County with Macy.
Nice. Yeah, and you guys, how did you come to be part of this then? Why'd you link up? Like yeah. So you started Plant Daddies, or did it become Daddies after?
So,
After
yeah,
the
Dane started Green Vibes Plants Co.
okay.
That was his original name of his business. Macy was growing a bunch of plants and posting about them all the time on his Instagram and Facebook, and a bunch of his girlfriends from the club world that he used to live in we started calling him the Plant Daddy. So when Dane and Macy got together on the idea of selling plants, Macy said, "Hey, we got to change the name because Green Vibes Plant Co. is a little bit vanilla." And so,
mouthful.
yeah, it's a lot. And then Macy's like, all these girls are calling me the Plant Daddy. I think we should be the Plant Daddies. So they pluraled it, added themselves to form the team, and then they started selling their plants out of the back of Dane's RX 300 Lexus SUV on Facebook and Craigslist. And then about a year and a half after doing that is when Macy was telling me all about what he was doing. I owned an insurance agency at the time, and he wanted me to help them kind of like make it a little bit more of a formal business. So giving him a little bit of money to get a van, put a logo on it, get an EIN number, get some employees, figure out how to
keep track of the money.
Yeah, keep track of the money because they were just chaos. They were just living out of like
take it out of my account. And put
yeah.
it account.
It was just a mess. So they just brought me in to like kind of help them like get the business a little bit more formed and essentially hire some people to help. And I was doing that while also running my insurance business for the first 2 years. So I joined them in 2022. So they started in mid-COVID 2020. They did it for about a year and a half. I joined with them in January of 22. And then I ended up selling my real business, my livelihood in June of 24. How long has it been? Yeah, June of 24. So I've been full-time with the Plant Daddies about a year and a half now.
Wow.
So
wow.
I call myself the third Plant Daddy.
Macy and I, we were good friends before as well. So it was very easy. We were already like hanging out, doing workouts, always talking about life and stuff. So when the opportunity arose, it fit really easy. It was really good to have a buddy of yours just willing to jump in and try something. So that's kind of where we started, because our girlfriends were good friends. We already been hanging out for 10 years before that, to be honest. And then Macy and Kenny, I mean, their childhood, they're basically family. So it's just it vibed together really, really nicely for us. So now we're attached at the hip for sure. So.
Yeah. We talk about 12 times a day.
Yeah, my wife is so tired of both of them because my phone rings at 8 o'clock at night. She goes, "Is it Macy or Dane? And can you tell them we're eating dinner?"
That's great. That's good. So your families are co-linked and everything as well. Like everybody, one big happy. Everything. Yeah, that's cool, man. That's really cool. Yeah. Are there any drawbacks to working with, like really close friends? Like I know it could go either way, but any challenges with that?
We're extra hard on each other. Those feelings kind of, I'm sure if we didn't really have such a friendly relationship, we'd probably be more respectful sometimes. But at the same time, I think, we can always take the heat and it rolls off our shoulder. And 2 minutes later, we're just hugging it out. So I think I think it's the benefits, to be honest. Maybe all businesses don't work like this, but there's no problems at all.
Yeah, if it's not the right people, then I could see how it could be like the worst choice ever. But we're lucky. We're super lucky because, it's funny. We had this magazine asked us a bunch of these questions, and it was talking about one of the questions was like downtime. It's like, what do you guys do in your downtime to decompress? and all three of us wrote the same thing without knowing what each other wrote, and it was just like there is no downtime. We all work our ass off because we don't want our business partner friend to be, you know, you know, doing more work than us. We want to make sure we're taking all the load off of each other, and we can, we're good enough friends to where it's like, damn, I'm smoked, they're going to handle it for the rest of the day, and then vice versa. So yeah, I mean, it could be a nightmare if it were the wrong people, but we're lucky enough to know that, like, and yeah, it's creative. There's a lot of emotions. We've been working for a long time, not taking any money out. So, things have been tough at some points, and if we weren't so close and so respectful of each other, it probably could have gone south. But yeah, we're very lucky to have the three personalities.
Yeah, we want to lift each other. We're lifting each other up, So
Yeah.
Macy's success is my success, is Kenny's success.
Yeah.
And we all see that. So like we're all like swirling around each other, trying to make sure that we're
Yeah,
we
we're on
all
the same
have
team for sure.
we all have a G-Wagon by the end of this, at least.
At least, right?
Use Dane. One day I'm gonna buy Dane a G-Wagon because I've heard about it for 5 years. The Plant Daddy G-Wagon.
So
Yeah.
Right now it will be like an old Jeep with a Mercedes sticker on it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
as long as it's got some swag, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm, yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds good. When did it go? When did it go from, out of the back, or maybe in the beginning it was always driven by the aesthetics, but what sets you guys apart in my mind is the aesthetic, the way that you handle the plant material. Was that from the beginning when you were selling out of the back of your Lexus, or has that continued to evolve as you've had, because I'm assuming anyways, I'm sort of projecting some of my own experiences onto you guys, but like I've learned and developed an aesthetic that kind of is identifiable to my operation and the work that I do. And it's morphed and it's changed and it's evolved over time, but like that level kept climbing of like, what do I want representing me, and what am I going to put out there that represents me? And was it like that from the beginning? Was that like a hard, fast set item, or has it evolved and grown?
It's a little,
Go ahead.
well, I would say a little of both. Aesthetic wise, we just do what we like and think is cool. So I know we do have a look now, but I'm sure that's going to change, in a blink of an eye. Macy and I have no like official aesthetic. I guess it kind of looks like that by design, but from the get-go, we wanted to make something that's cool, that's packaged up, that somebody could experience, like that doesn't know about plants. Granted, the plants we use now are kind of on design of things that don't need a lot of water, that somebody that doesn't know anything about plants could keep alive. But our aesthetic is always changing, and hopefully it doesn't get stuck, and that we're always pushing it. But our look has been the centerpiece of what is cool, what we think looks cool.
Yeah.
And then hopefully someone else thinks that's cool and they buy it. Really, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, and also to add to that, we aren't the typical plant guys. Like we literally are not plant guys. We love the world. Dane is very even like he's a chef. Like he'll put his food on the plate in like a beautiful way. Mm-hmm. So his style mixed with my OCD of picking every dead plant leaf off the top kind of has molded it into the look. And it's like typical plant people are like, oh, this plant needs to have this much light and it needs to go here. And we didn't, we knew some of that, not all of it, but we just experimented and looked at it in a different way than everybody else, based off of our experience with plants. Mm-hmm. So we would try things differently. And we saw that when everyone's like, that will never live in there, it won't go inside. And it has to have this kind of stuff and this kind of drainage. We didn't know that per se, and we experimented and we found new ways of keeping plants alive in certain areas. So it was a bit of like, us. It was just what we would typically do, but not having too much experience in it and molding it. And then also another thing that shaped our look was, the plants that we like were expensive. And in the very beginning, we didn't have, we've been self-funded since day one. The first investment when Dane and I shook hands. I had a little bit of money saved up because I was in real estate before. And I went out and bought, we took a loan out and I bought a bunch of stuff that we packaged up and we sold it. We plucked it and made it look cool. And we realized that's when we had a business. And then we started shopping for more plants. And then we would go to the nurseries and we would ask them, do you have a section where you guys are rehabbing or have a bunch of stuff that's dying? Because we can afford that. We can't afford all the good stuff. So then we would take the plants from the dead section, rehab them, get them to spark again, and they would have a new, cool, unique look.
Yeah.
And that kind of just fit our aesthetic. And that's what kind of molded a lot of the look as well. There's a couple different ways of how it happened, but yeah, it's all very intentional.
I think the like the one thing I've learned from them, because they're the like artistic creative ones when it comes to plant design. I'm still like learning a lot from them. But I think one of the things that especially Macy is like less is more with our plants. Like he likes to pluck them to the point where they're like 3 leaves on the end. But I mean, it's very intentional the way he does it, but it looks really good when they get done, just kind of thinning them out more than being like these big, lush, bushy plants. It's like they have a lot less when we get done with them.
Yeah.
Right. Especially because we're almost like furniture now. So we like our plants to be kind of part of the elements of the furniture in the house. So especially with the aesthetic of the way, people want plants in their house, they're not looking so much for the biggest tree in the world or something to fill a corner, something to be, part of the environment, something you see through, maybe not so intrusive. So that's also part of it as well. So it kind of just all loops together for sure.
Well, and it seems like a lot of the stuff that you guys, at least what I can see of what you guys do, is going into fairly architecturally significant spaces. And, to the sparseness component, what I noticed about your guys' work is that the value of the line in your compositions is like paramount to everything else. It seems like line is the priority. You posted something recently where you even had like a Schefflera in there, and I was like, damn, that's like the coolest looking Schefflera I've ever seen. And it was just a young Schefflera. You asked like the top 10, like top 10 for interiors. And even the Schefflera, which is kind of discardable in the plant world, more or less, right? Was like, the Schefflera is pretty fresh. I mean, I'll take the Pachypodium or whatever it's called any day of the week on that post. But like the Schefflera was really, really spicy in that space. Yep. So like that, do you guys have an interest in architecture as well? Is that something that you invest time in and or admire, or is it just strictly about pulling out the best of what each plant presents and then putting that into a space that has that kind of built-in necessity for those lines to really complement each other?
Yeah, 100%. I actually studied at a grad prep program here in LA for architecture, which I got my fundamentals of design. I burnt out after like 4 years, never finished, but I, got a lot of CAD work in, kind of understanding fundamentals. Macy himself spent tons of time in homes and with contractors, with real estate. So he kind of understands aesthetics of homes. And then Kenny himself's a contractor. So we kind of have a full package between all of us. We could probably build a whole neighborhood if we wanted to. We
also like going back to what you said is we're always really adamant about being the last ones in on the project. Yeah. So we want all of the furniture placed down to the last book on the bookshelf, because that is going to change what type of pot and what type of plant we use. The furniture is so important, especially because, the houses that we're in, you've seen there, we're talking about extremely expensive couches, coffee tables, credenzas, and stuff that are really statement piece focal points. And then we want to make sure that everything that we do is a complement to the entire space as a whole. So that's like picking the plant and the pot that works with the furniture and the wall and the color, like
pot material too. That's kind of more like a lot of times we're called the Plant Daddies. We invest so much in vessels, it'll blow your mind. So we could also be called the Pot Daddies, Macy likes to call it. But we are very heavy on textures, material, and then those pairings. And I think that's where we kind of land, is how we pair horticulture with vessels, plants with vessels. I think that would probably be our biggest specialty. And how we source those. We source pots from 30 different countries now. Cold containers that come in, low pots, big pots, the heaviest pots you've ever seen in your life. So we're really big on that too. It's a whole package. And then, just to go on what Kenny said, being that last layer and that composition of the entire layout and what the user interface feels like, and where those couches are, where the rug sits, and what material we're going to use on that vessel paired with that plant. It's a very big package. And that's kind of where we land for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because I've never seen somebody handle the kind of plant material that you guys are handling in such a close proximity to what I do. Because with bonsai, I mean, what makes a bonsai is bone is the container and sai is the tree. It's, a tree in a tray, but the container is everything for us. And, coming back from Japan when I did my apprenticeship to the United States, I was completely motivated to not be dependent on importing goods from Japan. And there were a lot of people in the United States that were really talented and making things, but they didn't really have like the support. And Europe and South America are tremendously talented in ceramics and have a long, lineage of ceramic experience and different aesthetics that come from that. And so I started really working to outsource ceramics and represent artists from different countries. And that's a big part of what we do as well, as the ceramic vessel that holds a lot of the trees that we work with. But seeing what you guys were doing, so much of that was familiar to me because also having experience in the industry of finding these kinds of vessels and going to importers and looking at a lot of things, I was also pretty amazed at just the diversity of what you guys are sourcing and the quality of it, the texture of it. I mean, it's very clear.
Yeah.
I even see you guys put wire on some of your stuff, which is like, oh, wow, you've just like gone, you're basically doing macro bonsai with these unique species, and it's super cool to see.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We tip our hat to Japan for that. That's definitely nothing new. But with the material we're using, I would say is a newer type of plant material that's experiencing the bends and the curves and the kind of manipulation of the plant itself, just to kind of fit that perfect area.
So are you actually going to these countries and finding these things? Do you have somebody that sources them for you that you're trusting to have the aesthetic that you're looking for, the quality and all of those like criteria that create a good match for you guys?
Yeah, we have people on the ground in all either like Mexico, Indonesia, China. We were lucky enough to partner with this import company called Berber. They're like family now. And Zaid, our business partner, his aunt paved the way for the past 50 years, traveling the world and making these connections. Handshake deals back in like the 70s in Turkey, where else? Like
Greece, Morocco,
Morocco.
Tunisia, Thailand.
Times when it was like dangerous for her to travel as a woman in a lot of those countries. She
Right.
still
Yeah,
went.
Iraq. She did.
Right. So she's
It's a lot of fun. The place where Dane's at right now is at their warehouse, and they have
like this tapestry, like we just found this here, So it's like we've been very blessed and very fortunate to tap into their logistics, and they've been very open to like sourcing the things that kind of fit where we're going with stuff. They used to be heavier in furniture, rugs, tapestries, and now pots are definitely the go-to. So we're getting container after container here. And then we've expanded we have our Inglewood location in Orange County. So we've been buying and sourcing and trying to make it like this one-stop shop where we don't have to leave the warehouse or Orange County yard to get much. So we've just been buying and storing.
Yeah. I mean, how much goes into like when you're working with clientele that has these kind of homes that are architecturally significant? And Kenny, like you said, you're talking about furniture that's of a very high taste and quality, and elements in the house that are of a very high taste and quality. When you guys create a space where you're showing your work, whether it's in the Inglewood location or the Orange County location, I'm assuming that you're also the space that you're orienting your business around has got to be perfect, because you've more or less got to be presenting people with the aesthetic and having them connect to how it interacts with their space. So your initial location, how did you come up with that? And then with the Orange County location, how is that like a good fit? How did all of that work out for you guys?
You guys can cover Berber.
So yeah, Berber, we met Berber on accident. Hence why we needed Kenny so bad, because we were so unorganized. And then, it became, popular quickly for us. And so a lot of stuff was getting thrown at us. Dane called Berber on accident and said, "Hey, I think you got a pot from us, or we bought a pot from you." And then, after 30 minutes on the phone of talking to this guy, Kai, who helps run the business, who, is family to us now, we realized it wasn't the right place. It wasn't the right pot. We made a mistake. And then they looked at our Instagram, they found us, and they were like, "Hey, come into Berber. We want to have a proposition for you guys. We have like a business proposition. We'll explain it when you get here." So we were like, "Sure, we'll go check it out." We had no idea what it was. We walked into this 40,000 square foot warehouse. And at the time, it was a lot more of a warehouse. Now it's a showroom design center. But we walked into this place and our minds were completely blown. It's 50 years of collecting things all over the world, hanging on the walls, furniture, stuff that we've never seen. We didn't even know places like this existed. And then it kind of just morphed into, they were like, "Hey, we sell pots, you guys sell plants. We have a lot of pots you can pick from. Also, we will sell a lot more pots if you guys can sell the plants here, as opposed to taking them and sourcing them and having to go back and forth and the heights. I mean, it's a lot to it." So then they were like, "We're going to build you a greenhouse. Let's see if this partnership works." So they built us a little greenhouse in their parking lot. We put plants in there. We blew through that in months. So then they moved us inside. Then we started, getting more and more plants. Then the place looked like a jungle, unorganized. And then we convinced them to put skylights in the ceiling. And then it ended up being a bunch of racks. Those racks got moved, and now it turned into a showroom. And then us working together with them, we've kind of created like this really epic design center where you can see. It wasn't like couches and stuff in there, because a couch would get destroyed. It's a warehouse.
Yeah.
But it was set up in a way, and it was always changing and molding to where it caught everybody's eye. And we did it the best we can to kind of show the luxury feel of these vessels and plants paired together. And then, then it just kept morphing. Then they built us more space there. Their business boomed, our business boomed. It was a great partnership. We're still there. We're literally family now. And then one thing led to another. We wanted to be in Orange County because we just felt like there was going to be a good move down there. We realize now, after being here for a year, we were not ready to move, but we're ready now, and we're stoked.
Yeah,
we're stoked we jumped into it, because if you would have
1.5
told
years
us
later,
Yeah.
ready.
dude, if you would have told me once we signed up here how much work it was going to be, how expensive it was going to be, and how long it was going to take, I would have been like, "All right, we're going back to LA." But the fact that we're here now, and this place is magical. It's a 6-acre botanic garden. And this gentleman, Frank Berry, who is a big landscaper out here, we partnered with him on a lot of outdoor projects, and he's made all these big trees movements and installs capable for us to be able to do. And same thing here. We just picked up with the design center. We have furniture. We just try and make it look as appealing as possible. And I guess whatever it is we're doing is working.
Yeah.
So at the end of the story, there was no master plan.
Nope.
And we're
Yeah.
just, we're really kind of taking in a lot of opportunities. And it's not only just us, the Plant Daddies, that's making this possible. It's multiple collaborators, multiple designers, multiple space, and multiple opportunities that was enabled us to even get this far. So we owe a lot of thanks to people, and a lot of thanks to our idiot, like calling the wrong people, or we wouldn't even be here. So, or maybe we'd be somewhere else. Who knows? So that's kind of how life works.
The Orange County expansion happened because a designer down here had their assistant call me and ask if I would come look at their showroom, because they wanted me to put plants in it to just display. They were a designer. That's Frank Berry's son. He has a design firm called Frank. And she was so persistent on me coming down there. We didn't want to do it because we were tired of tired of decking out people's showrooms for free for, like exposure.
Right.
But it was very convincing. I ended up going down and taking the meeting, and their showroom was the craziest design center I've ever seen in my life. I mean, one of the most impressive offices ever. And I called Macy and Dane. I was like, "Yo, I know we're trying to get more clients in Orange County. We're going to do this because you guys have no idea what I just saw." And then I had a great conversation with him. And he said, hey, you know, you need to go see my dad. My dad has some nursery stuff going on, and it would be really cool for you to go meet him. I think you guys would really enjoy each other's company. And so I ended up, when we did the install, I went down and saw him at this place. It's like Macy said, it's a 6-acre botanic garden / private park. It's beautiful here, completely manicured landscape with all sorts of features going on. And he walked me around. We hung out for 2 hours, and then he just looks at me and goes, hey, do you guys want to move here? Like, do you guys want to move in? And I was like,
Okay.
yeah, I was like,
Say less.
we weren't even, that wasn't even part of the conversation. We weren't shopping for space down here. We weren't ready for space down here. And then I called Macy and Dane, and was like, hey, we're moving to Orange County tomorrow, you know, basically.
I was out of the country. I was out of the country, and I flew back in. And once I landed, we already had a new space that, you know, and to go on, we never did any plants in the studio. We went to go do plants in the studio for that. We just went to Frank's dad. Did we? Okay.
Yeah. We did. That was the day I met Frank, was when I came down here. And then I came over here to meet his dad and check out the space. But yeah,
Damn.
it's
You
crazy.
guys
Just one phone call changed your life.
You guys brought brought the cool factor with the greenery, and people were just like, we want to be associated with these guys. That's got to be pretty
tool.
That's got to be pretty confidence building that you're onto something when you start having people with that kind of design aesthetic saying, hey, we want you guys to be around us.
Yeah, it's very cool.
It's kind of hard to believe, to be honest, sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's something that, like, I thank the Lord every day for it, because you know, if, like, I've been in bands my entire life. I've been a drummer. I was a musician from the second I can walk till, you know, 2 years ago, because I got too busy selling plants. But you know, and in real estate, I was a pretty successful real estate agent as well at one point. But the amount of work that went into trying to get people to listen to your music or come to your shows, or like begging your client to let me sell the house, you know, it's like, you know, and that's what most people have to deal with. And you just are persistent. You have sales tactics, and you just, you know, get in front of people. This is the exact opposite. It's like we started something, and it's like everybody wants it. Everybody loves it. People that aren't even into plants are hitting us up being like, yo, this is the coolest job. You know, you guys have the coolest job. And like, we're so thankful, because it does feel good. You know, we hope it doesn't end. We love the fact that, you know, we keep on innovating and keep on moving and growing, you know, and it's a great feeling just to know that, you know, other people like it. You know, Frank down here, he didn't really understand exactly what it is we did, but you know, he needed some space filled here. And then it's funny because he, you know, we were talking about a Schefflera earlier. He keeps everything. He doesn't throw anything away. But this Schefflera was so, you know, dead that he was willing to throw it away. And I saw his guys throw it in the dump. So at the very beginning, we had like a profit split. And so I pulled the Schefflera out. We you know, pulled it out. We bonsaied the roots. We made the roots stick out. We clipped everything. We bonsaied it. We wired it. We did all this cool stuff to it. And it was a trash plant. And we ended up selling. It was the first thing we sold here in Orange County for a, you know, a ton of money. and so I went to Frank and I gave him a check, you know, 20% of what this plant was worth. And he's like, "What's this?" And I was like, "Oh, it was the Schefflera that you threw out. I repurposed it and sold it." And he couldn't believe it. So I showed him a picture, and then boom, he was like, because he was, you know, thinking about going to a different state and starting another one of these over there, but that sparked him up. And you know, now he's like, "Hey, anything you guys need of mine, equipment, trucking, whatever you need, it's yours." He's like, "I want to help you guys fuel this." And then that sparked that. And then, you know, so it just feels good to have people that are experts like you even being interested in our business. It's like,
yeah, we're big
it's
fans.
unbelievable.
Yeah, thank you.
We can't even believe it. So
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
feels
you.
good.
Yeah.
It's a passion too, because, you know, we're all super passionate. You know, Frank's passionate. You know, he doesn't even have to do any of this. He's already made his career. It's done. You know, and he's just like, you know, I just want to be part of something. And then, you know, our clients, we we sell happiness, really. It's not even like we're selling a plant. Like people are super stoked to even just have the plants in their house.
Yeah.
They're always, we usually always in trade too, like, oh, we'll give you a plant if you post about it. And now we're just, if someone buys a plant, they'll spend money on it, they'll still post it because they're super stoked to have it. It's like, everyone loves it. It's very shareable. It's a very like conversation based as well. So it's just this completely different element from this, again, selling, I guess, real estate or, merchandise. It's just completely different.
Yeah. It feels less commoditized. It feels more like you're leaving the world better than you found it, kind of a thing. I think that's what plants do. I mean, I think that's like the ultimate, and I particularly feel like you cross that threshold, like a beautiful landscape or perennials or annuals in pots. That's great and all, but there's like something really powerful about a larger scale or representing a larger scale in the form of a tree. Like we have this connection to trees as, what I hypothesize as descendants of apes. It's just genetically built into our DNA. I think some people have forgotten that, but like there is something tangible and even measurable in that like elicits a significant response from people, and being able to give people that kind of relationship again is pretty freaking rewarding. I definitely see where you guys are at.
There's like a connection as well. Like even every little plant or anything that I've ever planted ever in my life before, like there's like a piece of me that I left there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
or
for
like
sure.
Vice versa. And like just like Macy just digging in the trash for a Schefflera, like he doesn't have anything better to do. It's like he didn't mean to do it. Like the plant forced him to do it. And then there's no like, it's kind of weird. It's like very like woo woo. I don't know what it is, but like I can forget everyone's name, everyone's face. But if as soon as I see like another, again, Schefflera from like 10 years ago, I remember it instantly. There's a little bit more, and Macy does too. I know Kenny does. It's like I could see like a photo of it. It's like, oh yeah, we did that one. It could be 15 brachychitons next to each other. I know every one that's ours.
Yeah. No, it's weird. I agree. It's weird. I don't forget a tree. Like I'm 15 years into this, and I still see a tree I made in the first or second year. Even 15 years aged later, I can still see that tree, when wherever I am in the country, whoever texts me about it or whatnot. It is an odd, and people always call me like Rain Man or something. And it's like, no, it's not like a talent or a gift. It just comes with it, right? It's like a part and parcel for doing it. If you're doing it for the right reasons, at least it seems, where like the plant material and its well-being is the motivation and maximizing its power and capacity to give people something positive. Like it's like embedded in you. I think anyways, it sounds like I've never actually heard another plant person speak to that, but you guys sort of just basically hit the nail on the head of how it works for me as well. Like when you're, I mean, there's the beauty of providing all of this, but then there is like the practicality of making it all work business wise, right? And that's like for me the least sexy part of it. In fact, it's the part that is just like, if I could get rid of that part and somehow just making cool stuff could be what supported me and I didn't have to do all that, like that would be my nirvana. I would have officially crossed the threreshold.
I mean, done. Yeah. That's heaven. That's called as not being alive, I think. I think once that happens, it's like, we're probably not living anymore. Because it's like, it has to be the perfect life, just making stuff that we like to make and just making sure everything's
somebody else handle all the rest.
Right.
Yeah. So we're trying our best to make that happen, but the reality, like you were saying, that sets in, it's a reality.
Yeah, you got to do it.
Our business is super labor intensive. And like I was saying, we're up to, I think if we hire the guy today, we're going to be at like 17 or 18 employees now. I've lost track because we've hired 3 in the last like 2 weeks. And just managing that many people and that many moving parts, it's a lot.
That is a lot.
But the reward structure is there too. So I would say maybe that's why we like it so much, because it's so painful that once it does go right, it's those little wins. Some like gambling, like an addict.
We live off of micro wins every day.
Totally.
Small wins. We were calling ourselves the cockroaches of the plant world because we were surviving off of nothing for a little while.
It's sad when the smallest little sprout of like a node makes us so happy.
Oh, yeah.
That means, like it's like everything else is horrible. And then I'm like, oh, look at that, you know?
And then
So
Macy and Kenny come over and they're like, "Oh my
added.
God, it sprouted!" And then you guys are like,
Yeah.
"Yeah!" And everything's good
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
everything's good
I
again.
think what the thing that's been making us the most happy lately is because we've been like really, really hunting down trees, especially like larger specimens. Is he'll come up to me with like his eyes all huge, like, look at this tree. We're gonna dig this out tomorrow. We're getting this. He's so stoked
Yeah.
about like finding big specimens.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably like the most joy we're having right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
We just how many are we getting? Like 40? We're getting a whole
Our
bunch
credit card
of
has
trees.
seen a lot of joy lately.
Yeah, our credit card's seen a lot of joy lately.
right.
It's not going to be out. Don't check right now.
That's the part of being responsible that sucks, because you can always justify taking on more plants when you're living as plants, but it doesn't mean the company can float that joy, right? Like that is a tough balance.
Well, we're
Say
gonna
it
have
again for the guys in the back, please.
yeah, we're gonna have no place to put them too. It's like you see them on a hillside and you're like, yeah, we'll take them all, and then you don't realize how big they are when you get them back to your nursery.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? They're all gonna be in 36-inch boxes. We need to order 40 of them now.
Yeah.
You need a forklift to move them now.
Yeah.
You can't just pick them up and slide them anymore. So it's crazy. Now, when you find something so good, you got to just buck up and get them, because it's not you, it's gonna be the next guy. You got to just do it. I mean, we've been in our secret spot, for the last 3 days, just working ourselves to death.
Yeah.
Shovels, and you couldn't even get the ridge fork to them, so we had to do that,
Hand dig.
wrap them up and drag them 50 yards down a hill to a place, get a crane to lift it up over I mean, it's just been insane, but it's my favorite part.
Yeah,
It is
it's super fun.
It is a bit Pokemon here too, because there's only so much material, especially with the stuff that we're sourcing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we're not the only people in the world doing this. And now that we've been posting about it, there's a lot of pop-up companies that are similar. A lot of people are like, hey, I want to get off my office job and try to do what we're doing. So it is a little bit of Pokemon. There's a little bit of competition, especially throughout us three. If we see something, we think someone else is going to get it, and we would, if we found it first and someone else buys it and we see it, it's someone else's project, it'll break our hearts. So,
Yeah.
it's a little bit, it's a lot of, again, a lot of passion behind it. And then, us being super passionate, plants being passionate, this job being passionate, I'd rather die on these sources, and then at the end of the day, I could eat tomorrow. We get ramen noodles aren't that bad.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh man,
They'll
that's
go
crazy.
eventually.
That's really, yeah. I mean, we work with a lot of collected material out of the wild. That's primarily what we work with, and it's almost like mushroom hunters. In bonsai, it's called yamadori. When you go collect out of the mountains, yamadori spots, and people take those to their grave. I mean, it's like it's sacred ground. And one of the really debilitating things in the past. I mean, it's always been obviously a looming presence in the native environment, but just the increasing risk of forest fire that kind of has continued to uptick in its prevalence and severity in these really rare landscapes that provide stunted trees has become like a major consideration for any of the collectors that we work with, because it's like it might be here today, but I mean, there's been entire hillsides of trees that could rewrite the history of bonsai that went up in smoke. And it's like, man, that kind of stuff. It's
I would have never thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are tapping into it, because if you're collecting and you're finding these places, I mean, the massive fire wiped out so many homes obviously last year, but it also wiped out a lot of landscape. And I don't know if there was any valuable specimens, but I'm assuming some of those landscapes had some incredibly valuable, rare, and highly cherished plant material in them. So it's like not just confined to the native wild environment. It starts to encroach on the urban environment and on the outskirts of the urban environment. And it's like a real problem to think about, I mean, because it really is rare to see plants achieve such unique forms that have the ability to captivate people's imaginations, and then all of a sudden you find them, and before you're able to get there, they're gone. It's like
Yeah.
it is a thing. It's a real thing. What
Yeah.
about? Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it's like we lose sleep at night, talking about like certain plants and knowing where one is, or if we can afford it, if we can go get to it. And that's also, it's an exciting but like nerve-wracking portion of this business as well. But then you also have to remember, like we with Frank, we went to this demolition site last week, and there were 6 of the most unusual European olive trees I've ever seen. Normally they have real giant thick trunks, and then they get real small at top.
Yeah.
These have huge trunks, and they spiral. There's huge trunks all the way up to the top, and you can just tell like these things have gone through it. They're like just gangsters that have been trying to figure out how to survive
Yeah.
in this parking lot, getting no water, and
War
and
horses.
uprooted everything, in like a lot, where I would have never expected these to be. So it's like there's beauty all over the place. So you have to kind of remind yourself, like, you think that was the find of a lifetime. You're going to blink one day and you're going to look over and you're going to see a little ponytail palm head floating right over the side of the freeway, and then, so it's just, that's another thing. You just have to kind of remember that and know that it's out there, and that you'll get another one.
Yeah, I had to go to the courthouse for Inglewood, and there's no plants anywhere in this whole city really, except for us. And it's an old parking structure, and there's a Ficus lyrata there, and it's 8 stories tall, and it's the biggest leaves ever, and it's fruity. You know what I mean? I sat there in the parking lot, like picking all the fruit off of a fiddle leaf fig, like at the courthouse. So, and it was just like, I'll send you a photo. Cool. It's just coming right through. It's just concrete and fiddle leaf. It's very beautiful.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it's just like that, it's just like those places where you don't expect it in the middle of, no shame on Inglewood, but it's not the nicest area.
Sure.
And then they got this beautiful plant just growing through the cracks of the cement. It's the biggest, bigger than I've ever seen in Hawaii. I've never seen a ficus that big, or a fiddle leaf that big. So that's pretty cool.
Well, and that tree got its moment of glory, that you appreciated it, because there's probably a lot of people that couldn't give a crap about that tree that walk by it every day, and it's like such a shame. Yeah. I went to school in SLO, and so I put in some time in California. Yeah, and I used to go over to the abandoned shopping centers, and I found particular success in abandoned drive-in movie theaters over in the Central Valley. So my buddy and I would wear like a roadside worker, like reflective vests, and we had a makeshift magnet that we had put on our vehicle, and we'd just go ham, yarding out junipers and stuff that people had driven over for 50 years and was all mangled.
Dude,
and
this is
stuff.
giving me a lot of ideas.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get some construction jackets tomorrow.
Yeah.
We've definitely seen some trees like driving down the road that are like, probably Caltrans responsibility, that I'm sure need to get rehomed.
Totally. Yeah. And Caltrans doesn't give a crap about them. It doesn't even matter.
No. The older, I've noticed the older neighborhoods here in California have a lot of like old topiaries, because they were like in vogue then, and like people just bought the house over and over again, never touched it, and they're looking really good nowadays. So if you guys ever want to come down, run around Crenshaw with some jackets, I think we might find some stuff.
Don't tempt me like that. I love that stuff. The hunt. I mean, you guys are out hunting as well, but like whether it's in the mountains, but I get just as much thrill. There's like a weeping blue Atlas cedar down the road here that's sitting in front of what I can only imagine is like a meth house or something, and there's like a car like half parked, like knocking it over, and I've been looking at it for like 3 years, and every year I'm like, this is the year. And if it wasn't such a sketchy environment to go knock on the door, because all the windows are like have like sheets taped up over them and stuff, and I'm just like, that tree though, if it goes away and I miss this, I'm gonna be so bummed.
Your life.
And it's like it might even be worth it. It's that good. I'm just like, I've never seen one that character filled, and it's just the only thing that exists in this yard, which is all dead grass, cars and junk. And
hey, dude, I say you go for it, man.
I feel it. Yeah, I'm feeling the support and the nudge. I mean, do you
Yeah.
guys?
Especially if it's surviving there, you can tell it's got some good genes on there. So you know,
Yeah.
Oh, the
yeah.
will is there. The will is
The will
totally
is
there.
there. You can dig that up.
Yeah.
It's not gonna die.
Yeah, the
It's seen
will
some
is there.
things.
I do. What does it look like? Because like I think when people hear about an operation like this, like we're talking plants, and then you guys are like, yeah, there's the vessels. But when I see it, I'm also looking at like, okay, well, I don't know how specialized your soil system is for the different plants that you utilize, but like in
Yeah, custom.
bonsai, the soil that we use is very, 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 very specific. I
Mhm.
mean, what do all of those things that people don't think about in terms of what you guys do? How much of a stress and pressure is that for you guys to also work all of that out? Because I personally go to the mountains and collect my own lava, my own pumice. I've got to import one particle type that's a very unique particle type, but we even happen to have it natively here in Oregon. And I've been like out in the mountains trying to find a resource for that myself. What does it look like for all of those accoutrements that people don't think about?
Dude, I could show them 10 super bags outside of
Yeah.
different material that we have to mix up custom for every plant.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely custom. You know, from zeolite to pumice, lava, crushed granite, sand, what else? It's just endless. And
Yeah.
then,
We
especially
just
for
made.
yeah, especially
Right.
for interior, you know, a lot of these things that we're pulling out the ground, we got to take all that soil away because it's
Mm-hmm.
probably got full of stuff that's just gonna, you know, the spiders and frogs are going to jump out of it once we plant it in somebody's
Right.
house. They're going to
Tarantula.
call us. Yeah, they're going to call us saying, "Hey, you know, I just got this, and you know, if we didn't change the soil out correctly, it's going to harbor some sort of pest. There's no ecosystem to knock it down, so it's just going to take over the plant." So a lot of the stuff we have to just strip them down bare and build them right back up, especially anything that we replant. For,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's not like 100% nursery grown,
Right.
which is none of the really stuff that we really like to sell.
Right.
So we even the nurseries, you know, we have to change that out.
Yeah.
So it like comes with, very heavy with mulch. It's used to like a
A lot of
hot
peat
house
in it.
that's like, yeah, lots of peat, and that it just takes all the oxygen out of the plant. So we, you know, we're heavy with the oxygen because everyone wants to kill their, you know, over water.
Everyone
So
wants to overwater, yeah. So we use a really, really chunky, well draining mix for most of our plants. Got a ton of pumice in it. The amendment is really thick, really chunky, and so it doesn't have a whole lot of sand or dirt in it that's gonna stay wet.
Yeah.
And
hand
also inside too, like as soon as you move a plant inside, they drink, you know, about a quarter as much.
Yeah.
You know, the sun, you know, is less, so they drink less. Well, you know, sometimes our clients are like, hey, you know, I haven't watered this plant in 2 weeks and it's still wet, and we're like, don't water it.
Just keep not watering it. Yeah.
Keep-
Don't
yeah,
love
keep
it to
not
death.
watering
it,
keep
yeah.
going.
100%.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tricky too. And then we don't usually have drainage in our plants because these homes we're putting them in, you know, we wouldn't be able to afford to replace the flooring or the,
Right.
you know,
And-
you know, they're sourcing like a stone for the flooring from, you know, a cave in Italy. You know, it's like that you'll never get again. So it's like it's priceless. So we found that out in the beginning very quickly, and we are like, everything we're doing is
yeah,
completely sealed and you know, no leaks whatsoever. And so then you got to water it a very specific way, which was a big challenging portion for us to deal with for a while. But we've got that, you know, kind of figured out now.
we stay everything. Most of the stuff we do is internal staging, and it is, if you if you did like a elevation slice through it, people's minds would explode because it's completely nothing is technically planted per se. So we use all sorts of elements to keep it elevated, suspended. Water can flow, not touch the plant. Airflow. It's a whole process. So that's probably like the hardest part. We've got it pretty dialed in now.
Yep.
But again, like Macy was saying, like, you know, we're planting the coolest limestone in the world, you know, that you can ever find. That used to be like some trough for like Jesus that to wash his hands in. And then they were putting that right on top of a oak floor that was shipped in from Italy as well. That, you know, if one scratch gets on it, you know, they blame the plant guys. So it's been tricky as well, but we figured it out. That was kind of our first thing that we had to get nailed down really tight, because I got one call ever, and it was like
The
a
water.
French floor for the water. And if you mess up the floor just in one spot, you have to change the whole floor.
Yeah.
There's no just There's no like, oh, I'll fix that spot. It's not a thing.
Let's all knock on wood right now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I sympathize with you guys. Well, so first of all, I got two questions for you, but the first one is, are you saying that basically you're floating the plants in the container more or less?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so stability as far as like the clientele not knocking it over or it not falling
happens.
over.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
okay, all right.
It's not
Yeah,
it's not not completely
too
floating per
often.
se, but we use like some sort of aggregate like a pumice or a zeolite or a leca to fill the void, and then we usually lock in the grow pot with a with foam collars.
Yeah. Gotcha. That makes
So
sense.
it's stable.
Yeah.
And then there's typically no airspace. That airspace is filled with some sort of an aggregate.
Yeah.
Which also acts as a ability to soak up moisture.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And what's
then also with that, if something happens to it, we can swap it, take it out. So it needs to be modular, because if you're just gonna, especially some of these big guys that were put in there 10, 15 feet, in a house, like if it's gonna be full of soil, or the plant would probably just die.
Yeah.
But it's we do have that modular action where if something happens, we can pull, we can treat and put back. So a lot of this it's just a whole different ball game.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot to plan for. What's the recovery time? What's the establishment time? Like, say for example, Macy, you were saying you guys are kind of like having to drag these big massive things down, get them a crane, and you've got these 40 trees coming in that need 34-inch boxes or whatever. Once you get those to your facility, are those immediately available? Do you have like a acclimation time, recovery time, a stabilization time? What does that look like for your industry?
Yeah, every scenario is different. Usually there's a pretty significant acclimation time. A lot of the plants that we grow, we manipulate the root system a lot. We have to let that dry out before we put a lot of water in there. And then that process, puts a lot of the leaves in shock, and then the whole thing will drop. And then a lot of the times they're in full sun. So now we take all the energy away from the bottom. It brings a lot of the energy away from the top. We go put that in a very lower light situation with a much more, a shaded structure. And then we let the roots establish. We have this stuff that we've been using. One of our guys is brewing up this tea, and he uses a bunch of, ingredients in there that shoot crazy new root growth in. And then the new leaves that grow back tend to be, what we're, in our experience, a lot more acclimated to lower light. So now we can be putting these trees that usually are, have no business being in shade, and that's kind of what we've figured out. So there's a pretty serious acclimation period. Cool. And we used to just rip them out of the pots when we were in the beginning, and then everything would drop. Now, if we're very careful and we only remove a certain amount, about at least 50% of the time, they don't even drop. And then, winter and fall is brutal. Yeah. And then when spring happens, we're so stoked. Everyone's happier in spring because everything just spring.
We just talked about this this morning. I was just like, man, the weather's getting better. I know spring's just going to bring so much more happiness, because everything looks a little crappy right now, and like kind of gives you anxiety. And a lot of times we're pushing the boundaries with a lot of these plants. So it's like, is it in the right place, or it's been a cold snap. So some of them just like drop, some of them don't drop. I wish there was a sign, like I wish I knew exactly which ones would drop and when they would drop, but some more than others. I remember we were just laughing because there's this, again, a brachy that I completely decimated. It's complete art piece. Like it almost doesn't even look like a plant anymore. And not one leaf fell off of it. I mean, it's perfect. And then, I'll take another one. I don't do anything to it, and I just move it to the left, and it just sheds. So there's no real science to it. I do know what does help is if we're trying to force acclimation, we'll strip all the leaves off and just force grow it inside. And that, I find that helps with a quick acclimation to force cell. But everything's just so different. It can be the same thing. You move it to the left, you move the other one to the right, and one's perfect, the other one drops. And it takes 6 months to come back.
Yeah, we have it as figured out as we possibly can.
Yeah.
And then, one of the things that I just absolutely love is we are growing a lot of these things that should be in full sun in the shade because of what we've done to them. And then we'll put it in someone's house, and then we'll get 400 comments of how stupid we are. We're the biggest idiots. And, we don't know like what we're doing. And, that plant's never going to live in there. But what they don't know is it just came from a dark area where it grew leaves. And now we're putting it in a house that's twice as bright. So it's like these things are flourishing. Like they're so stoked. We've never had anything die. Like we literally have never had anything die unless there was like an overwatering issue. And then everyone's like, what's I can't pronounce it.
Elated?
What is it?
Elated or
Yeah, elated. It's like everyone's like, these plants are gonna elevate. You know what I mean? And it's where they grow towards the sun and they get skinnier and they look weird. And we're like, that's the point. That's what we like.
That's what we want. Yeah, that's what we're after.
So,
that's why people bought this from us, because that's what we do.
Exactly.
Very cool.
So, we get hated on by a bunch of haters, and it's just funny because it is what it is. But they're thriving at this point.
Yeah. You know that you're doing something when people have to hate on it. That's when you know you've like really crossed the threshold, when people are like, man, that sucks, or you guys suck, or that's never going to work. And it's like, okay, now we've actually started.
Yeah.
We're successful.
Now. Now you're feeling threatened. I see what's happening here. I see what's happening here. How much of your time, because I think like there's a misconception when people view, if somebody saw Plant Daddies online, they'd be like, these guys, they live this utopic life. They're like working with plants all day long. This is amazing. How much of your time would you say actually goes into like the creative stuff that you really love versus just the
10%,
responsibility?
10%.
Yeah.
That
makes me feel better. That makes me feel better because it's lopsided and not the right way for me, right? Like I got to operate a company.
It's very rare that I get to like see Macy sit down and like design and build a plant anymore. Like he's been training some of our other guys to be able to do some of our table pieces and like the more intricate pieces that we do. And I mean, I can't remember the last time I saw you. Like he'll go over and give direction. Like you should tilt the tree like this. You should wire it like this or whatever. But like not like it used to be where we would build them all ourselves. Very rare do I get to see him go over there and like sit down and make a piece.
Does that make you
More
sad?
directing traffic.
Yeah. Does that make you sad?
Does it make you sad?
Yeah. I mean, like there's a lot of ups and downs. It's exciting, this business and all the things that go into it. But yeah, I would be a lot happier if I got to just sit down and play with the dirt all day. But we're trying to get back to that. We're trying to, with the hiring, we've been doing it all wrong. We've been trying to keep as much money in the bank as possible, and like if I could go on that install, I'll do it, and if Kenny can go on the install, Dane could. But now it's like us three need to be just, I don't know, in the business or on the business, one or the other. Needs to just be working on the business or in the business while our other guys are now doing that. And it'll allow us to have more time to do that and come up with some more ideas and just push boundaries and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I got Johnny. Johnny's been making all of our plants. Johnny's our manager down here now. And we've been very picky with the things that he uses and stuff, but now he's kicking ass. Like I can just say, hey, Johnny, this needs to be made. And then I can show up and I'll be like, masterpiece.
Cool.
So he's getting pretty good at it.
Cool.
So we're passing the torches down. Dane's got a couple guys there. Dane's pretty much still in the ones in LA still. But I mean, and then if we see something that's wrong or we wouldn't want it that way, we go explain like we would have done this, or this needs to be shallow, this needs to be higher, whatever. But our guys are starting to get it.
Cool.
Right.
Very cool. Yeah, it is a little bit. I mean, in terms of making it, because like you guys could at some point go back to just the three of you, but obviously there's a scalability issue, so you would have to radically shrink everything down. And maybe someday you guys will hit a scale where you're like, dude, let's go back to the way it was, and who knows? And I hope that doesn't happen for you, but certainly with my operation, I've been through 2 or 3 like shrink swell phases where it's like, are we going to push and grow it? or are we really gonna recede and go back to more of a ma and pa style? Because it started as like a one man operation, a little bit of a ma and pa operation, and then it grew to something that I never thought it would grow to, and then it it shrunk, and then it grew, and then it shrunk, and then it grew and stuff, and it's been a moving target for me with this place to kind of figure out like where is that sweet spot, because the sweet spot is so proportional to what's happening on the like kind of the larger societal economical scale of things,
Right.
and that's been really harder for me to cope with because it's not so much it's not in my control. It's like we've had to be responsive to factors outside of our control, which have meant
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
opportunity to do things maybe I wouldn't have done, but it's here, and so let's go. And then times where it's like I would like to go, but we can't go right now. And that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
really been a pain point. That's just been, I think, part of like the wisdom and weathering of how to actually have longevity in what we're doing, because like that longevity factor, it's like everybody can come out and make some cool shit for a little while. How long can you keep
Right.
doing it? How can you keep being malleable and evolving? How can you
Yeah.
continue to stay on top of the game while taking in all those factors and flexing and shifting and moving? That's really been like a painful lesson for me here over the course of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that
I
was
mean,
just right on the head.
Yeah.
yeah, we're dealing with that right now. We feel like we have the ability to scale right now, get very efficient. We finally have kind of gotten our SOPs in order after 4 years.
I
So,
didn't even know
and
what that
ever,
was 4 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What the
Right.
heck was that? Like,
Totally.
SO
yeah,
what?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
now, now we're writing them. It's just like,
Nice.
yeah, and now like just within the last couple of weeks of just seeing those things getting implemented already, I have less emails and there's no leaves and there's no dirt all over the place. So things are changing. So I really feel like implementing efficiency and growing our team is going to be very beneficial.
Mhm.
But then it could get so big to where your monthly expense is just like if you don't just kill it every month, then you're
Yeah.
screwed.
Yeah.
So, we're kind of we're trying to figure out if we want to go for it or if we want to, if we want to.
I mean, we've made the decision. We're going for it because
Yeah.
we've already ramped up the team by 4 or so employees, and we're not slowing down on the hiring because we just noticed we had a couple really good months towards the tail end of this past year, and you could just see it on our employees' faces. They were like, they were burning it at both ends, and we were just like fried. And it was like but that was the level of activity we needed for us to maintain like profit. So it
Mhm.
was like, okay, so we need this, but we need to be able to do it with a little bit with more people,
Mhm.
just to be able to spread the load out a little bit, and then we could do it without like stressing everybody out to the max.
and
Yeah.
then the passion is just not just with the principals, it's with the staff as well. They're all passionate plant people. They love it. They're in for it. I'm sure they could probably make just as much money sitting somewhere, on their computer, but they're all in for it as well. They all love it, and they're just as responsive to that passion, selling a piece of themselves, seeing something that's not doing well, and a design that they were part of, and having them be like gutted. They're like, oh no,
Yeah.
So they definitely care. And then finding those people that care as much as you do, you have to, because I mean, we have to. I guess you don't have to, but
No, I think you
for
do. You're
Plant
dealing
Daddies,
with a live.
yeah,
You're dealing with a living thing. If they don't care, that's a real problem.
it's a real
That's a real
problem, right?
problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Especially at the
So,
level, because you guys have chosen to push the level. You're doing it at the highest end. It's like that is you've necked down your potential army in terms of selecting people that are going to be able to function at that level. So now you have a much smaller pool to pull from that are going to care
Yeah.
that much, right? And that's really a challenge. I
right.
Well, I don't know how it is for you up there, but even getting entry level people down here is a challenge.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
we've been doing so many interviews. I mean, we're like scouring Indeed, and it's basically a full-time job for our admin assistant right now, just getting us interviews. And the bar is so low for these people just to come in and get an interview, and they still can't make it. I mean,
Oof.
have a
Even
driver's
showing up.
license. Have a driver's license is like 8 out of 10 people do not have one, either because one, they didn't get it, or two, they have something on their record that's preventing them from doing it. And sometimes it can be as simple as a fix-it ticket that these people aren't taking care of.
Yeah.
It's unreal how
Yeah.
hard it is to find. I don't even mean talent. I mean just capable,
Someone to show
competent
up.
people,
Sure.
and that will show up on time.
Macy
it's
had
wild.
three. What was it
Yeah.
last week? He had 3 interviews. Not one of them showed up.
Yeah,
That's
and like no call, no
crazy.
show. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's
So that's-
crazy. That's I feel like that's a plague of like where we're at right now, sort of in the modern
Right.
era. It's like, oh man, it's gotten tougher. It's gotten tougher
Mhm.
in a
Yeah,
variety
It's
of
gotten
ways.
really hard.
Yeah.
Recently.
And I'll give advice out there for anybody who's like looking for a job. It's one thing that's gone a long way is we've had 2 people just walk in and hand us a resume. I don't even think the one knew that we were hiring, and it was an immediate like, this person's a 9 out of 10. I haven't even talked to them
Mhm.
just because
Yeah.
they had the initiative to come
You're
walk
here.
in and hand
You
their
want to
resume.
be there. Yeah.
You want to
I'm like,
be here?
"What?"
You handed your resume can you start tomorrow?
Yeah.
I don't, we'll
We'll work out the rest later. You're in.
We'll work out the rest later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you took all of this, like if you took all of this stuff away, and this is impossible. This is an impossible question to actually know the answer to, but I'm going to ask you anyways, because I think about it myself a lot. Like, I'm like, 30 years from now, 20 years from now, 10 years from now, I don't know. Like, I'm pretty passionate. Like, otherwise I wouldn't be here. And I still feel like I've got like a solid 30 or 40 years of like a career in front of me where I'm going to want to make really, really kick-ass trees and go through the pains of this to get that done. But like, someday I definitely feel like I will want to be free of this burden and experience, at least for a short period of time in my life, that freedom. Because caring for plants, especially plants of this level and on this level, is a real responsibility. It's like a real commitment, right? Do you guys feel like you'll be doing this for the rest of your life? Or do you look at this and you're like, we're going to crush now, but someday, yeah, I would like to not have this responsibility or burden.
I'll give you more of like an analogy. During the holidays, I had to go to Home Depot to pick up some hangers for my girlfriend, whatever. And it was my time off to just relax, not do anything with plants. And I brought home an orchid from Home Depot.
Nice. Yeah. So this is a lifelong thing.
Yeah, I busted it open and took all the old sphagnum moss out and then wrapped it around a little wooden pole and then sat on the porch and did that. So I would say maybe, but I don't think so. If it's not that, I'll be cooking something. I got my new sous vide machine in the house. It's like I just keep on doing it.
Yeah.
I can't help myself.
And I'll let Macy answer for himself, but I think for me, like, I want to kill it over like the next 10 years and like, hopefully make a good living enough to where then the back half, I definitely don't want to let it go completely, that we could just be more picky and choosy about what we're doing, where again, maybe it's more pared down, maybe it's more specialized. Like yours is extremely specialized because of the long time commitment into each and every piece, but maybe it's more like that. Maybe like, Macy will probably say this, but like sourcing really cool, unique, large scale specimens for like very cool clients or something like that, where we're not necessarily needing to, get the team up to 50 people and 10 trucks, but it's pared down to like, this client wants something, I'm going to work for this client on this one project,
That makes
something
sense.
like that. For me,
like 10
that's probably for
projects,
me.
10
That's
projects
nice.
a year,
Yeah, 10 projects a year, super specialized. I'm going to work with the client that I love.
Yeah.
And then, but never, I don't think I'll ever let it go. I'm the type of person, I'm going to work forever. If not, I don't know what I would do without it. With retirement, I can only fish so much, like I want to, I like to build things. I like to work. So I don't know what
it's
do you
like
think?
Kenny would become a professional fisherman. That's how it is. It's like,
Yeah, I would
like,
start a charter. Yeah.
He literally does Ironman, like it's just like,
I saw that. I saw that.
so
You
it's
posted about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was you,
just
Kenny.
jog
Okay.
Down the street. He has to be the number 1 or number 3 person jogging, biking, swimming, and jumping out of an airplane with plants in his hand. You know, so everything becomes just so intense, and we're just so
Yeah,
competitive.
I'm competitive for sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
What?
Yeah. I think for me, it's funny because for as long as I can remember, I've always been the busiest person I've ever met. Whether that was, in music or, when I was in college, I had 3 jobs at the same time. I would do finance during the day. I would be a personal trainer on my breaks, and I would be in a bartending at nighttime. Always had more than one job. So, I don't know how I would ever be able to, just chill. And everything that I've ever done, I've never wanted to do. I'm not like, I want to be a real estate agent. It just, the opportunity arose, fell in my lap. I learned how to do it, did it. Because of real estate, that also kind of got me into this a little bit in a way. And I wasn't, waking up in the morning when I was 10 being like, I want to, be in the horticultural world or in the plant business. So, I would like this to keep going. I would also love to not be as busy as we are. It would be cool to have some kind of like work-life balance. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It is a constant, it's a rewarding burden, but
Sure.
it's definitely a burden for sure.
Yeah.
Responsibility,
The
which is
yeah,
great.
the amount of things that can go wrong that are out of our control, are wild, so it's constant. My brain is on all day long. I have dreams every night that I'm dealing with a plant that's dying or falling or something, and it's torturing me.
Wow.
So and we're only getting started. So, and we have to learn how to have this work-life balance for sure, because we don't have a life. It's just work, all
Yeah.
3 of us.
Yeah.
Poor Kenny went on vacation, and Dane and I like harassed him with questions, and like some shit went down, and we were like, dude, we need to figure it out, because he has a portion of it that only he does. And then with him being gone, we didn't expect something to go wrong, and it went wrong. So we're like, we need you.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
He's like, he called me all pissed, like, dude, he's like, I can't even fucking relax.
Hold on,
Relax.
hold on, Kenny. You went on
So-
vacation?
Yeah. Well,
I didn't know. I
did.
didn't know. I'm just calling.
Luckily, it was a cruise, so I was able to sit on my computer on the days that we were like at sea
Right.
and spend like 8 hours.
Oh,
Everybody's at the
brutal.
pool having
Yeah.
cocktails, and I'm answering emails and running payroll.
So it goes to be one of the daddies, though. It's like that's
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. You could be maybe a lesser factor in the whole thing, and then you could enjoy your time off unobstructed. But yeah, now being a leader,
No, I mean, I think it's cool. It's what we signed up for. I think
Yeah.
that
Yeah, fair.
we're entering year 5 of the business, and I feel like this last 6 months even was like a pivotal point. And this year, I'm really optimistic about getting things to flow better. So, yeah, I'm feeling good about it.
nice. Do you guys ever think about trying to take your work and um, elevate it beyond being plant people, or elevate it beyond being in the nursery industry of sorts, because you're doing modern enough and tasteful enough and aesthetically elevated compositions that really could stand alone as art in a space designed to show what you're capable of. Like, instead of being the person,
100%.
like, I don't know if you guys get couched as a gardener, but I get couched as a gardener at places where I'm working for high-end clients, and I'm a gardener. It's like, that's not what I'm doing here. I'm not a gardener. And when I see your guys' work, it does stand out to me. Like, Plant Daddies and what you have going is so freaking cool. Like, the brand, and it's like young and it's fresh and it's full of energy and stuff. But it's like, yeah, but these guys are making things that could stand alone and represent them individually as artists, because you are going beyond what I have seen other people do with the material that you're working with. Do you think about that?
All the time. Yeah, Macy and I talked about kind of making our, even when we made this Plant Daddies logo, we wanted to make it modular. So if we had to take the trees out, we can, and we'll still be the Plant Daddies. I mean, just our last project, we're doing a huge project in Vegas. and which was kind of cool, like a testament of like what we're creating. And we worked with a company and designed a sculpture that ended up being more than the plant itself that is getting installed, which is completely handmade travertine sculpture that, that's part of the element, and we're pairing that with a tree. So I don't want to, we are the Plant Daddies, but I think we have more to offer, and it's something that we've always thought about, we've talked about. Right now we don't want to dilute ourselves and kind of focus on what's in front of us, but we do see, we see some other options coming our way. It does feel good to sell something that doesn't need to be watered. It's kind of, that is a good feeling. And it's part of it. So cool. Yes.
I mean, I didn't know if that was part of your aspirations or not, but like when I started this whole thing, I met there was a guy at the end of my apprenticeship who was getting his PhD, and he was writing his dissertation on why bonsai was an art. He was from Australia. He was a really cool guy. His mom owned a gallery in Sydney, and he passed away unexpectedly of pancreatic cancer. But right before he died, he said, "Listen, promise me that you'll get bonsai into MoMA someday." And so that's always because it was a motivation of mine. And when he first met me, like we connected on that. Yeah, I was an apprentice at the time, but he was there and doing his dissertation, and my master let him come into the garden and stuff. And my master didn't speak English, so I was translating. And then, I ended up talking with him independently. And he was like, "What, why are you doing this?" And it wasn't because I love Japanese culture, although I think it's beautiful, and it wasn't because I love bonsai necessarily, although I think it's beautiful. It's because there was like something that could be expressed through these plants in the work that we were doing on them. Right. And I always wanted that. And he was like, "Cool, we should talk afterwards." Anyways, he brought me to Australia, and then we had that exchange. And so like, I've always been like thinking like, how can I like twist this concept to move away from the gardener or something like that, which the longer that I've gone, the more I've moved. I've sort of like, my work has spoken for itself. I've moved away from that. But it's still like kind of ingrained in a lot of people's minds. But like the ultimate would be getting to the point where it is respected at that level of modern art or cultural art, or whatever it becomes. Yeah, but like, it's there for me. I want that.
We've talked about that.
Even the way we're living art. We've even reached out to galleries. That's kind of where we'd love to picture ourselves, and this is how we think ourselves as more like, again. I don't want to even say like we're like these advanced horticulturalists at all. Like we're just kind of artists, and this is our medium. This is what we're painting with. Is horticulture. And then even with the world right now, the Guggenheim. I think it's the Guggenheim. If you look them up right now, there's plants. There's an artist that's hanging, like they're faux plants, I believe, but he's got them all hanging like all over the place, and it's part of the like. The museum right now, which is really cool. So with us, you as well, using plants as a medium, as art, it's being way more receptive into the art world as well, which is, I mean, cool for us.
Yeah,
for sure.
Cool. Yeah, definitely cool. Slightly slower than I would like it to be, but it's cool.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
It's like if we could speed that up, it would help us all.
Yeah. Like 50 years ago, we'd be laughed at, just selling it as an art piece. But again, I think but in the Victorian ages, it was, more of like a status symbol. Then it became like a furniture, like not even furniture, just like a thing in the corner. And now it's kind of moved into like some sort of expression of like who your client is. Like even if the people that have that plant in their house, it's their expression as well as ours.
Yeah.
So
that's very cool. Yeah, it's interesting how it's evolving. Do you guys collaborate with? I know you guys got to go here pretty soon. I want to be respectful of your time. We're all busy, but
this is great.
Cool, good. All right. I feel like
dude. A highlight of our year was seeing an email from you asking us to participate in this. So
badass.
we're stoked, dude. We're happy we get to spend time with you on this.
Cool.
Yeah, I know Johnny, one of our managers, is big fan too. I thought maybe you'd pop in, say hi.
Oh, nice.
He saw.
Oh, that was Johnny at first. Yeah.
That was Johnny.
That's amazing. Cool. Yeah, very cool. Well, it's mutual, very mutual. Do you guys collaborate or because like you have Berber, and they kind of approached you, and then Frank, and that kind of came together. But like I also see, if I were an architect, which is probably what I would have chosen to do if I didn't do bonsai, or at least, from the outside looking in, it sounds sexy, but I know like all the time and the rigor of that would make it feel probably similar to what we're doing. But like, it seems
course.
like a perfect marriage for you guys to be embedded with an architecture firm. And I don't know if architecture firms are reaching out to you or if you collaborate with them or if there's any of that potential, but like, if I were in LA and I were a cutting edge architecture firm, I would be signing on with you guys.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
we're
work with
getting
them.
that a lot lately.
Good.
We're getting those calls. And we're working with them again with the way architecture is working. They're embedding more life into their plans.
Exactly.
Again, 15, 20 years ago, they weren't doing that. Now it's almost mandatory for them to sell a project to some billionaire that's going to fund it. They're just going to have to put trees in it. And then, hopefully with the future, that'll be we'll get those phone calls and they're starting to come for sure.
That's great.
But yeah, again, and then just like you, if I didn't, I guess, do horticulture, architecture was like my dream as well. And then, I got the real world of it and sitting there doing CAD all day, making fire codes and air ducts and realizing I'm not going to be Frank Gehry. I was able to divert and pivot and become this, hybridized architectural plant firm. But I think, the sky's the ceiling and we're all very passionate and then, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Thank you guys for making the time. If people wanted to find you guys, figure out more, learn more, I mean, our podcast has a pretty wide listenership. Where would they go to find you guys?
Hey, let me tell you Macy's phone number real quick.
Yeah.
Let me just, he mentioned that his emails have calmed down, so I'm going to give him something to do.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, probably Instagram and which is at the Plant Daddies with periods between each word, and then or our website, which is theplantdaddies.com.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah, if you hit us up on Instagram, Dane, me, and Kenny are usually the ones that respond. So you'll get one of us usually.
I don't really respond. I just look at the analytics. I let them do all the talking.
That's right. People have direct access. That's
100%.
that actually
Yeah,
that actually goes a long ways, man. That goes a long ways.
We talk with all of our clients pretty much directly still.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You
Yep.
guys are crushing, man. Good luck with everything. Keep doing what you're doing. Next time I'm down in LA, try a swing in and see you guys.
Gotta come.
And say
Please,
hello. I'd love to see it.
I'd love to talk to you in person. I'd love to show you around. Vice versa. I'd love to come up.
Likewise, you guys ever
check
up in
out
the
the stuff.
Pacific Northwest,
Yeah.
please make it a point to come see us.
Come and show us how to actually do it.
We can learn from each other. How's that? That feels
I'd
right.
love to hear more your path as well. So because we're so inspired by you as well. We know you've come a long way, and I mean, I would consider you like the only bonsai master in the States. I
appreciate that.
One of the top at least. So
that's
I
appreciate that. Well, let's do it again. Let's we'll let it marinate, and when you guys are ready to catch up, we'll see how things are progressing, and we can do it again.
Yeah, brilliant.
We
Right on.
appreciate
All right,
that.
boss.
Thank you guys.
All right,
Appreciate you
good.
guys.
Thank you.
Hey man, thank you.